Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mace. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes. Director Ahuja, last Congress, I was pleased to be part of the bipartisan coalition to help bring about passage of the Postal Service Reform Act. As you know, that legislation requires employees, dependents, and retirees of the Postal Service obtain health insurance coverage through the Postal Service Health Benefits Program by 2025. Is OPM on track to implement the Postal Service Health Benefits Program by 2025 as required by law?
Thank you for that question. We are certainly on track. It's a very aggressive timeline, Congresswoman, but we are we'll be issuing an interim final rule in April that is really going to govern the entire program. We just put on the street an RFP for the entire IT infrastructure to manage enrollment and eligibility. So we're meeting our performance metrics on this particular pretty sizable effort within our agency.
Do you have any serious concerns about the implementation?
Well, like I mentioned, we're managing in a very aggressive timeline, and we will do our best to get the basic requirements up for postal reform and then add to that. I do want to mention, Congresswoman, that we will be coming back in our FY24 budget, which was already anticipated.
That was my next question.
Okay.
Can you provide us with an estimate of the annual cost to administer this program?
Yes, I can. I know the particulars are in the budget that haven't been officially released, but we have laid them out.
Okay. All right. Will you also provide us with an estimate of how many staff will need to be hired to implement the program?
Yes, we would be able to do that.
Good. As this committee knows all too well, new programs must have proper oversight and safeguards in place so that they do not become rife with waste, fraud, and abuse. GAO recently highlighted significant concerns about waste, fraud, and abuse in FEHB enrollments. How will OPM make sure that these same issues are not carried over into the Postal Service Health Benefits Program?
I appreciate that question, Congresswoman. I do want to mention one thing that is distinctive with the FEHB program that will not be with the Postal Health Benefits Program is that the FEHB program has been a decentralized program for 60+ years, meaning that every agency manages the enrollment of their employees. And so while we have issued guidance and communication to agencies to manage eligibility, it is a challenge from our end because it's decentralized. The Postal Service Health Benefits is actually going to centralize that enrollment, and we see it as a test case for what we would like to actually incorporate with the FEHB to manage improper payments.
Well, that is also a question that I have. Will you be able to apply any lessons learned with the implementation and creation of the Postal Service Health Benefits Program to improve FEHB?
Oh, absolutely. I think we're really taking from the things that we'd like to improve with FEHB and incorporating them in the Postal Service Health Benefits Program, such as centralized enrollment, being able to check eligibility. We'll have a decision support tool that will be much more customer friendly. These are all the things that we would then, Congresswoman, like to take back and make those improvements with the support of Congress.
Well, I've heard, I haven't been here for the whole hearing, but I've heard enough from my colleagues to know that they have shared with you the frustrations all of us have about the incredible backlogs and delays in response to requests, including congressional casework. So I'm going to give you a chance again to talk about what OPM is doing to alleviate delays and backlogs in response times and congressional casework, because this is not the way a federal agency should work, and I support my colleagues in saying these employees need to be back in their offices answering calls from constituents.
Thank you, Congresswoman, for that question. I've said also here today that I've given a lot of attention to retirement services. I said this during my confirmation that I'm focused on it. We have a number of efforts underway around improving the inventory, which we have been able to bring the inventory down and actually improve the number of cases that we've processed by 20%, which
I heard you
hopefully
say
you've
that.
heard that.
We don't, 20% when it's nothing isn't anything. I mean, if you're improving from such a low bar. So we don't want to hear about improving percentages when the bar was set so low. Just tell people to come back to work and answer the needs of the constituents. They need to be in their offices, just like Ms. Mace was saying. If you don't show up in the private sector, you lose your job. And that's what should happen in the public sector. It's hardworking taxpayer dollars that are hiring these people who refuse to come back to work. Fire them if they don't come back to work. My time is up. I now recognize Mr. Burchett. I'm sorry.
Yep. Sorry, he showed up.
Oh, yeah, they told me nobody was going to show up.
I know.